All right, we are live. Om Lokaha Samastaha Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and peaceful. Hope you all are doing well on this lovely Wednesday, post FOMC. What is going on in the markets? We're going to get into that in a moment here. I'm going to give it a few minutes and squeeze my squishy ball here. This is a good stress reliever, by the way, if you got any on hand, especially when you just sized up on some pretty big shorts. It looks like it's moving in my favor right now. So 𝐬𝐚𝐧𝐭, if you want to see my trades and you want to join the Conscious Crypto Collective, then all I ask is that you join under my affiliate link so that I can get some of the fees and maybe give them back out in the future in competitions. If you deposit here, you get several $100s just for depositing, 10K or 20K. Check that out. Keystone Hardware Wallet. Someone asked me the other day why they couldn't use a promo code. That's because it expired on the 9th. But if you reach out to them, you might be able to get it extended. But they have another deal right now where you buy 3, you get the 4th free. It's the lower price of the 4 items that you choose. So that's a good deal. And my course obviously is a great deal right now at just $99, which I'll double it soon. And because it's worth actually more than double what I'm charging for it. And basically fleshes out different strategies for different phases of the market. So right now we're pretty much in a range bound environment. So range strategies are really useful, but then when we start to trend again, there's several strategies that apply specifically to that phase of the market. So it's really helpful to know going in how you're going to be trading. And for those of you that actually are willing to sit through the videos, I try and make it as informative and interesting as possible. But I think a large majority of people, even those that buy courses, don't end up taking them. And myself included, actually, some courses I still need to finish up. I'm currently taking 3 different courses about trading, just to give you an idea of how I'm up leveling with my own skills as a trader and a teacher. So okay, hi Peter, how's it going? Give opinion on Fed. Yeah, I'm going to. What's your name? December? What should I call you? So we're going to talk about that. There was basically a 50 basis point hike, which was expected. The terminal rate, I think they said it was 5.1. I'm going to take a look what I posted here. See, I'm posting this information also in the C3 group. For those of you that haven't yet joined the group, DM me on Twitter. Again, just sign up with 𝐬𝐚𝐧𝐭. Federal funds rate 5.1, September projection. So that's the terminal rate. It's a little bit higher than expected, but there still is a hawkish stance. So I think hawkish in the future. So that's what's led to this. And also just so obviously it's being interpreted as negative. And there's been a whole lot of, SPY has been literally up and down, but now it's decidedly down. And we're about 25 minutes into the close, before the close here. But if you take a look and you just zoom out, I mentioned this yesterday in the group, this wick was concerning to me. I was actually bullish, thinking that Bitcoin was going to push up higher, at least into the supply zone, which it did do that. Now we're really dropping. Okay, so maybe adding to some positions here as we are live. Actually, I'm sized up pretty good right now. So yeah. So right now I have Bitcoin and BNB short. Those are my 2 shorts. Bitcoin's actually my main focus. I just wanted to pick one and really, one over the other. I'm kind of tired of trading both Bitcoin and Ethereum at the same time. I still think Ethereum is going to drop lower. I might be a little bit scattered today just because there's a lot going on right now with the prices, and This is the moment that a lot of us have been waiting for quite some time now. So with the ES, notice what it has done here. Remember this, I pointed this out about a week ago, how it came up here, rejected initially, came back, retested, actually came above to this monthly level, wicked right up to that monthly level, and then rejected instantly. And that is a pretty big wick for this chart. I mean, see if you can find that anywhere else on this chart. At a top, you can see them at bottom points, right? These hammer type candles. That's an inverted hammer, right? And that's a sign, especially where we're seeing that candle, that's a sign of more downward pressure potentially. And then today we're seeing, again, a lot of instability. Of course, this is expected. This is why a lot of the pro traders will just sit this period out, at least for the first hour or so, which I did. I did my best to sit on my hands, but ultimately I decided that I was gonna to go short here because of what I was seeing. So, but you can see if we close even anywhere around here, we've got 2 rejection wicks after this move up here. I think that this looks like a topping. I mean, here it looked like we were topping out, but that was sort of an initial, a little bit premature. Still showed some strength that came back up, broke back above, but now it's breaking down again. And so what does that mean for Bitcoin? What does that mean for the Dixie? It's kind of interesting because the Dixie's down today. It's still dropping. And yet stocks are also, you don't usually see this, right? It's usually an inverse correlation, but Dixie's dropping. I don't know how much further it's going to go, but I think it's going to find support at around 102, 103. And it might, when it comes back up, it could move fierce. But let's look at Bitcoin, because I think Bitcoin is going to give us the most clarity with what's happening. I mentioned in the last stream, and let me turn these off for a moment. Oh, these need to be turned off too. Okay, let me turn this off so that we can see. I added some lines to this. So anyways, that's enough, right? So we'll take a look at the EMAs. And I mentioned in the last stream on Monday that it should at the very minimum come up and retest the 12. And guess what? It wicked up to it. Okay. But it didn't push any further than that. And why was that? Well, we got into a supply zone, and you can't really see that on the weekly, but we got into this supply zone. It pushed up prior to the FOMC, and I watched it moving in there, and I was really tempted to short at that level, but it would have been premature. And of course, if you're an aggressive trader, then good on you if you got in at this period. But this is what a lot of people aren't paying attention to. A lot of the amateur traders, they don't notice this. This is the origin of the move down here, okay? It was a pause in between. So this is one of two. Here's another supply zone up here. And you can see the price sort of paused, and it doesn't stay there for very long. And this is usually a sign. It's a subtle sign that smart money is selling. Okay, that they're starting to sell off here. And so what happens the next time it revisits that, it didn't quite make it up there. This time it sold off prior to that, but this time it wicked straight into the middle. And that middle point is usually a good place for a rejection if there's going to be one. And if you see a rejection wick like this and a red candle after moving into this zone, then it's a strong sign, especially after a move up like this, that we're going to see more downside. I mean, that's, again, it's a little bit early to be calling that, but it seems to be, that's not what we want. It seems to be heading in that direction. And part of what was concerning to me yesterday was the fact that I was actually expecting a pullback here. I was thinking, okay, so we got this strong move up. Now it should pull back. In a healthy trend, it'll pull back and then start to come back up again. But it didn't do that. It just kind of kept going. It kept going. It went blasted through here. It didn't pull back at all. It just kind of kept going up, and then it kept going up. And that's an overextension. And so if you think of it in terms of, like, if you think about a bull market, when there's a parabolic rise in a bull market, and it can happen over days or weeks. But usually if you see that altcoin and it's just pumping, it's a sign to take profits, right? Because there's going to be a sharp correction, and it could be the end of that. It could be the end of that parabolic rise. So we're seeing a mini parabolic rise here. This is what just happened. And then the instant rejection. Okay, this is not a bullish sign. This is not a sign of a pause. This is not a healthy trend. That's what I'm getting at here. Is like, if it had been a nice stair-stepping type movement, we'd have seen this sort of activity in a retest here. It never retested, okay? Came back and it sort of did this, then I would be looking at this much differently. And if we were right here, I would not be looking for shorting opportunities here. I'd be seeing, okay, well, let's see if it rejects here, or let's see if it breaks through here. But it didn't do this. If it had done this, okay, and of course it's never really that clean, but let's just, you understand what I'm saying here. If it had done this and it had gotten back inside, then excuse me, we could have treated this whole thing as a deviation, okay? And this would have been the range that we were working with, okay? And so this deviation got back inside this range, then I would be super bullish, at least back up to this quarterly level, 21,500, and potentially even higher to 24. But it didn't do that, actually. And I mentioned that we hadn't yet really seen a proper retest of this range low, okay? We had come up kind of very briefly and didn't make it all the way up and rejected immediately, okay? But now we can say that this was a proper retest because it moved up definitely slower than we saw here after this automatic reaction here, moved back up and then rejected again. So what is that a sign of? That's a sign not of more upside, but more downside, and potentially coming all the way back down to the bottom of this range and maybe eventually putting in new lows. So that's the perspective. And that's why personally, these are the areas where, I mean, ideally I could have gotten in a little bit higher than this, but these are the areas where I'm most interested, right? Because these are the range extremes. This, there's two major ranges that we're looking at here. And if we look again on the daily, you can see this a little bit easier. But if you look here, you could say that this was a major range here, and this is a major range here, okay? It looked like it wanted to be a deviation. I was actually hoping that it would eventually push back inside, because that would bring a lot more participants back into the market. But alas, that's not what the market wants to do right now. We will see. Of course, things can still change. Let's have a look and see what's going on. Yeah, SPY actually flipped positive briefly, but then now it's back down again, minus 0.7. We're looking at potentially more selling off in after hours. At least that's my hunch here. And so that's the reasoning for me why I'm short Bitcoin. And BNB is one that the reason I shorted this one is because this bugger has been weak as ever since I think there was about $4 billion in withdrawals in the last few days from Binance. And people are just scared. It doesn't mean that Binance is going to just disappear. It doesn't mean that they've done anything wrong, but it's all about people's interpretation of certain events. And there's obviously still fear from FTX. So let's see. Let me get back into the feed here. Massive bear trap. What would that look like? Yeah, a bear trap. Well, we know what that would look like. It would just rip higher here. I mean, we would see, but look at that. I mean, look at that wick on the daily. My gosh, that's hideous. I mean, can you see here? Like, even a close at like beneath 18K, because of where this is, because of this supply zone here, it looks bearish to me, okay? Even though structurally nothing has really changed yet. Structurally, we just broke out of this range with a lot of strength, but then an immediate rejection here and a lot of volatility right now. So it could push back up. This could be a bear trap, but I think that, I mean, if you look at the price action that preceded it, I mean, that's a giant bull trap to me, right? And then usually when you see a momentum candle like this after a run up like this, I mean, and here you can see on the hourly, this rejection wick, it tried to push back up, almost made it back to 18K, but then rejected again. Okay. So initial reaction here in the market is that we're headed lower, not higher. I would not be longing this. And none of this is financial advice, but this is just me speaking out loud. So, but a bear trap would basically do something like this, right? And then eventually just rip past this level here and take out all the stops. And then in that case, I'd have to completely reevaluate. But I'd at least want to see it come down and maybe retest somewhere down here before I went long on it, you know? So that would be a pretty crazy bear trap. I mean, at this point, imagine that. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible, but with what we've seen so far today, it's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good, my friends. So, so yeah, I'm gonna take a break for a minute here. I have a little bit of a cough. I'm not really sick, but I've had kind of like, you know, it's like, it feels like I have a virus, but it's not. I'm just kind of, I'm tired and fatigued. And I think a lot of people would just go through this, especially after COVID. I mean, I had COVID like a year ago, but it wasn't that bad for me. So I don't know if anybody else is going through that. And yeah, that's good. That feels good. I feel like I need a cough drop or something. So I haven't really been messing with the alts because, I mean, if Bitcoin's doing this, then I don't even want to look at a lot of the alts and see what they're doing because they're going to be just all over the place. So these are the times when I hunker down, or I narrow my focus to the majors. And that's why I cleaned up my list here. I've got a whole nother list that, you know, we can look at, but you know, it's more just out of curiosity at this point. I mean, look at what Litecoin has done. Litecoin is kind of the canary in the coal mine for me. The coal mine, it gives the early indication of what could be coming next for altcoins. And that one really tanked. my last position here was a long from here to here, and then I got out. And if I could have done a lot better if I shorted up here. Usually I would, but I didn't take a position at that point. XRP looks like it wants to break down as well. Breaking down below this weekly level here. That could be, maybe looking to short this. Maybe it will retest first and then maybe short it down. I mean, ultimately you've got this level here, but I'd probably hit this zone here first for a take profit around 0.3535, but I would not be longing XRP. See what Solana's been up to. Solana's been pretty uncharacteristic. I mean, geez. Finally, you did it. I waited for you to do this forever, and then I just gave up on you. I mean, I think I tried to long this here. It went to here. It crashed. Here. It went to here and crashed. And now it finally does it. It finally made it back up to the top of this range, deviated above, got back inside. Oh, that's weak sauce. Weak Solana. Doge looks weak. Yeah, Doge looks like it's about to fall off a cliff here. So maybe it does something like this. Short trigger. I don't know if I would even wait on these. There's your first take profit. There's your second take profit. I just, I'm just, I'm just focused on Bitcoin. I don't even care. I don't care about Dogecoin. What I noticed was last month, my a lot of the losers that I had were altcoins. Like Atom, I think I lost on a few, and Matic and BNB. I lost on a few, and so I made up for a lot of those with Ethereum and maybe Bitcoin. But I need to keep better track of individual coins that I'm trading, because I think it's helpful to know, hey, you're 8 out of 10 with this one and you're only 2 out of 10 with this one, so maybe you shouldn't trade this. And it's just an ongoing process. Some people are asking about DOT, and DOT, I actually yesterday was saying this was a potential long setup. It did head back up to the mid here, and now it's headed back down. But I wouldn't short at this level. I'd wait to see if it gets back below here and rejects. But I wouldn't even trade this. And Sand was another one that we talked about on Monday. Let's see what that has done since then. Yeah, it also came up, but not as strong, and now it's back below. It's just, there's been such a steep drop over so many months. I mean, look at that. I kind of wonder if this will come back. Because they do have a lot of good things going for them, this project, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear the bullish argument right now, James. I'd like to hear it when we're in this sort of a trend. I'll get bullish when I start getting more positive comments on my YouTube channel. I started making a different type of content because I got bored with crypto, and interesting reaction. Some people really liked it, some people hated it, some people cursed me and criticized me, and yeah, whatever. I think that if I just talk about crypto all day, I'll go insane. I need some time to really focus on other pursuits, and also to share those things, because that's how we become better human beings, and that's how we become better traders. So, power of the market makers. Yeah, the market makers they can do whatever they want, but they're not going to necessarily go against what the stock market is doing. Tesla's down 2%, Apple's down, Amazon's down, Google's down. I don't know. I mean, I would have thought that it would have pushed a little bit higher, but it definitely, I said previously that it should at minimum come up to near the halfway point of this candle. That's usually what we see, and it sort of did. And it did come back and retest the range with an initial rejection. At this point, I don't want it to come up, because then I'm going to lose on some trades, but I would have liked to have seen it come back up into this range here, because that would have brought a lot more activity into the space, and that would have been helpful, I think, for all of us, just for overall morale. But alas, we shall see. It's still early. It's still early. So all we have right now is this one big red candle. That's it. And then we have this sort of doji. Okay. So definitely some indecision. Hasn't completely broken down yet. So we'll see. But I don't know. I would definitely, this is just not a place for me to be. Where would you want to long something like this? Would have been down here, and actually I think I did long it right here. Why? Because this was the deviation back into this range. Okay, this is sort of a little bit of an extreme scenario, but then you get back up here. We didn't really get any sign I think it happens so quickly because they're just liquidity hunts right now, because there's just not a lot of, it's mostly market maker activity, right? So this was a 15-minute candle. So the breakout didn't get the retest, and then just consolidated and pushed up even higher and higher and higher. And now, so it's unsustainable. It's not, this is not healthy. You know, this is like a child that's just thrown a tantrum, and now is losing, it's losing it's, you know, it's tired. Bitcoin looks tired to me, but maybe that's just because I'm tired. I don't know. So Ethereum looks like it just made some devil horns, and good on you again if you got in up here. I watched it. I wasn't, you know, I didn't have the guts to short this. I didn't know for sure what it was going to do yet. But even here, like this level, you know, you can see that initially it did come back up and retest this sort of support zone here. And we did get initial rejection there. So, but is that really a short trigger with it being near the top of this range here? Ethereum just isn't as clear to me as Bitcoin. It's hasn't been as clear. And Ethereum, you can see on the ETH BTC chart, it also is not as clear as it was previously. So it's hard to say. I mean, I think they're pretty much in the same place right now. But would you long this? I mean, would you long this just realistically? Like what sort of information is leading you to believe that this could be a long setup? When you see big strong move up, sharp move down, another attempt back up, but didn't really push higher, just ran the stops right here, okay? And then another sharp move down. So I mean, maybe we're range bound for a while here. Maybe it ranges, who knows, and starts to show, you know, as the volatility settles down. But if Bitcoin can't get back above 17 or 18K, I would say, by the end of the day, then yeah, it's just not looking good. I would say no. My bias is on the short side right now. And I've been on the long side since we were down here, okay? So it's, things are shifting. And again, like nothing really has structurally changed yet. But why is this significant? Again, because of where these prices reached up to. Ethereum also, this was a key resistance zone or level here, okay? This was a resistance zone. So, and it was the top of this range. So it was rejected twice already. And then we have everything that's going on in the stock market. So do I still believe we hit bottom? I didn't say we hit bottom. I don't think I'm kind of still in the minority of people that say we haven't hit the bottom yet. I don't think so. I think it's premature to say I can't say either way, but I'm leaning towards more downside ultimately. This could be the accumulation zone. We'll see what happens if and when it gets back down again, which at this pace, it could happen sooner than later, but we'll see what happens. I mean, this could be the accumulation zone. But if we look at this again on the weekly chart, because it's so easy to get consumed by the price action, it's so hard talking and clicking at the same time sometimes. It's so easy to get consumed by the price action in the short term, but when you zoom out and you take a look, that's what I want to get rid of. Okay. Does this look bullish to you? Does this look like we've put in a bottom yet? EMA's sharply sloping down. No sign of, no flattening here, no period of a real accumulation. This is not a sign of accumulation yet. I mean, it's way too early to me to say, to call this a bottom here. I still think it's headed down lower to 12K and potentially even lower than that. Might wick down lower into the 10K region even. Because if you look, just look structurally, market cycles, okay, this was in 2018 bear market, slope down. And even here, people thought this was an accumulation and then another leg down, okay? And then it started to flatten here after many weeks of sideways, very little volatility, pretty much dead, right? It's just like crickets in the markets. There's nothing really going on. And then they start crossing and then it pushes up, okay? So just look at the previous cycles and look at the trends that we saw there. And you'll see, let's not use that. You can see that it's sharp. It's a sharp move down, and then it starts to flatten out, and it starts to cross over here. Okay, this was a sign. So even just looking at the EMAs, you can tell. Now we compare that to what's going on right now. Where are we? What phase are we in? I would say that we're nearing the end of the decline phase, and we might see one more explosive move to the downside. And then it'll be a long, boring accumulation. And that's when I'll see, you know, when you think that could my engagement get any lower? Could the sentiment be any worse? Well, yes, and I think that it will. And that's when there'll be like 5 people watching these, and I'll still be trading it. So I'll find a way to trade it. I'll trade those little ranges. So yeah. I mean, if you can find a way to make money in this market, then the bull market trading will be really, really easy. It'll be really easy because what do we do? What do you do when you see this sort of price action? Well, it's really quite simple. You get in on the pullbacks when it finds support, okay? And then it comes back and it finds support, and it comes back, and you can use the EMAs here even. But I would actually probably use the 20 and the 50 at this stage in the game, okay? It gets anywhere in between here. You buy, you long, right? It goes back up again. It gets a little overextended. You sell. Pulls back down to the EMAs. You buy. Okay, here's a warning sign. Drop below. Dead cat bounce. You sell. Okay, it's really quite simple. And if you just use a few basic guidelines. See, this looked like a little bit of an accumulation, didn't it? And it was. It was a reaccumulation before the final move up, and then the decline, okay? But we've been declining here. We've been in decline. It's going to start to get flatter and flatter, but when everything's really boring and nobody is saying anything and everyone thinks crypto's dead, we haven't really had, you know, we've had some black swan events. There might be some more. You know, I just saw something, the bill that Senator Warren is trying to pass that's going to basically make it really difficult for US crypto users have to KYC non-custodial accounts. I don't know how they're going to do that. Non-custodial wallets. Good luck. Good luck, Liz. You know, I don't know how you're going to KYC everyone with a wallet. You know, you're going to have to force compliance among the hardware wallets, and I don't know if they're all going to agree with you on that one. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching these streams, but that's all I've got for you guys today. I'm saving my voice. I'm going to make a video a little bit later on about buying gold with crypto and as an alternative to just stabling funds that you don't, and or moving them off the exchange in that way. Because personally, I think that obviously gold is a store of value, and I also think that the timing with this could be really beneficial because of what's happening in the precious metals markets. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm going to wrap this up here, because unless I have any, there's not really a whole lot of questions today. You guys are kind of watching the charts like I am. So 5-year Bitcoin price prediction. I have no idea. I think it's going to, I mean, it's obvious. I can't say. I definitely, I don't, I try not to project that far into the future, because there's so many people that already do that and they're all completely wrong. So, I mean, I think it'll at least surpass 100K in the next 5 years at the very minimum, but who knows? I think Bitcoin's not going anywhere, and it's gonna surpass, but it probably won't happen until 2024, 2025, then minimum 100K Bitcoin, um, which means that some of the other ones are gonna really do well in the next, but it's gonna be at least another year, maybe 6 to 12 months before we start to see a turnaround. And accumulation, if I had to guess about accumulation, I would say it starts in maybe we start to really accumulate in earnest in February, March of 2023. That's notwithstanding any black swan events that could be hurled at us. But I think that this could be also one of those phases where it's definitely a strategical, a trader's market. It's not an investor's market right now, much to the dismay of many investors. I think there's going to be a lot of sharp moves up and sharp moves down, and it might defy all of the ideas that we have around the phases of the market. And we had sort of a period like that back in 2019. And you could see what happened here. And this was obviously COVID threw a wrench in this. I mean, who's to say whether it would have done this anyways? But this was basically a big range that formed here for, how long was that? This range we saw play out for 500 days. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like this, where it's not quite accumulation, it's not quite markup, it's sort of like no man's land. And everyone's calling for, I think Druckenmiller, they're calling for a recession in 2023. It's pretty much guaranteed, but that's also already priced in because markets are forward looking. So, but I think there's going to be a lot of uncertainty and instability in 2023 as well. And I think probably by the end of 2023, we'll start to have some resolution. So those are just my opinions, not financial advice. Yeah, I'm always happy to share my trades. My trade's at basically a break even right now. We'll see what happens with that. I'd be surprised if Bitcoin could push up with a lot of strength. Maybe it does push back up again and then and retest somewhere up here. But I would be adding to my position here if it did do that. If I saw, I mean, I would wait first for some confirmation, but we'll see. I've been waiting a few days. I've been waiting patiently for about a week to make some trades here. So we'll see. Hopefully this can work out for me. I don't like to bet that the price is going to go down, but I also, I got to make money just like everybody else. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you on Friday. I'm going to do this. I'm going to continue consistently sharing. Please like this if you haven't already. so that they can, at least it can be shown to more people. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.